Muzza, how you going?
What up, dude?
There we go. We're
We did it.
live. Finally, we're live.
This has been a long time coming. It feels like what has it been? At least a month trying to do one of these.
Look, it has. I mean, like I feel like personally in my life, there's so many things that are going on that like I'm just like, what on earth is going on? But for you, man, like I've been watching your videos along the way and kind of writing some highs and lows with you and stuff. So, um, yeah, it's been a little while for us to do the video, but so many things are going on in lives and stuff, so that's kind of expected. Although I do kind of find that I go to look at videos and it seems like a couple of days ago that I've spoken to one person and yet another person. It seems like ages and ages, but really like time's all messed up. But I think it's like that for everyone. But how are you doing, man? How are you coping with things?
Yeah, it's just been pretty intense. The past I don't this past few months for me has been pretty like personally intense. In the fact
Uh-huh.
that the guy that was working for me ended up quitting, which not really that big of a deal. It's like now that he's gone there, I didn't realize how much mental energy I was putting into like, oh, I got to take care of him with like making sure I got jobs and money to pay him and trying to have like a vision of the future where it's like I'm paying him more and more, you know what I mean? And so it's like yeah, and then once he quit, it was just like, oh, I don't have to do any of that anymore.
Yeah, less stress. Yeah,
And it kind of like snapped me back. It's like, what am I doing?
yeah,
With myself and my time and why am I doing so much just drama filled things and like yeah, ever since I kind of chilled back a little bit on jobs. I still am like really busy, but like I'm not, because like we were just renovating a bathroom and like doing bigger kind of jobs. We did kitchen backsplashes, cabinets, and painted houses and a bunch of just big jobs. And it got to a point where it's just like, okay, well, if we continue like this, then I'll have to like hire more people. And like I had an experience a year, I think, ago
yeah,
where I had three guys working for me, and like the amount of drama and stress that went along with that was just I don't know if it's even worth it. It's like,
yeah. I was gonna say that it's probably not worth it, is it?
well, because like I had like this idea of like, oh, I could like save people, from like having to like get like the vax and bullshit, and have to
Yeah,
do all this stuff in like the B system. I was thinking like, well, I could like give an outlet, so do something that's not in line with that. But then once I had people like working for me, I realized like my like utopia dream, was like confronted by just drama filled people and reality and just situations that were just frustrating and difficult for no reason. um yeah, it's just really eye opening on some level. But then you know long story short, got one guy that stuck around after that. And like not only that, but I was like paying him like $1,500 a week,
wow.
for work,
Yeah,
and occasionally more. It's just like with bonuses, but like base pay 1,500. And
jeez.
and so like that gets to be stressful, with then having enough for like my own bills and paying for my family needs and shit. So it's like, okay, so it's like 6 grand a month that I got to come up just to pay these guys
Yeah,
before I even get anything, and on top of that, then I'm taking on all the extra liability of like they're doing shit at other people's houses, and if like there's like drama, then I gotta pay for the mistakes of others, and just like, yeah, it's just a lot of that kind of stuff that just went too far. I think like I just let things just escalate too much before I should have just like this is not what I'm envisioning, because I wanted to like on some level just like maybe flip houses and
yeah,
like not have to like work for like just people in town, like doing jobs for them. That would be like more of a, I could work without the stress of having like to please somebody other than like a potential buyer.
yeah,
And so like I thought that would be nice to do. But like, yeah, after dealing with that, then at the same time my wife has been simultaneously growing like a cleaning business that she's doing, my stepdaughter's doing, and I guess they hired somebody that just didn't work out on that end either. But like yeah, so there's like all this drama going on. Then on top of it, my dog starts going just downhill. And it was such a gradual thing, because it's like my dad died on Christmas, and then it was still winter when I went to the Y with one of my friends. Like, he came to my dad's funeral, and like it'd been a while since we seen each other. And I was like swimming at the time, and I knew he was like into going to the gym and shit. And I told him, I was like, hey, maybe we'll get together where you live at the Y up there and like swim a mile and just to do it.
Yeah.
And so on the way up there, to go and do that, and then on the way back home, my wife like lets me know, she's like, "There's something wrong with your dog," and so like, she was like, just like didn't want to get up for some reason, and then at that point, I was thinking that she was gonna die. It was just like kind of just out of nowhere, and she was like 19. By the time she died, she's probably closer to 20, and that's for like a black lab mix mutt, mostly kind of looked like a lab, but I don't know exactly what her breed was. I got her from the pound, but like yeah, and so what started happening then is she started bouncing back, and then it was like just like this roller coaster of just like, oh, she's getting better. At the same time, you just see like almost like her little world was getting smaller and smaller. By the time like the end came, it was just like her world was her like dog bed. It was very similar to like a person dying, and like in like a weird way, because I didn't like euthanize her. I thought I just prayed that God would give her like a good death and not like a painful suffering, whatever. And like
Mm-hmm.
and so when it started to really be like, okay, it's any day now, like it's imminent, is when she stopped drinking water and eating food. It's like she stopped eating food, and then shortly after that, then she stopped drinking water, and like almost would refuse it entirely. Like I
Right.
like put like in like a dropper and just like try to get her to just drink if she was thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
But she got to a point where she just rejected it, and it was just like kind of like it was like a really emotional and a difficult experience. But now that it's over, it's like I feel like she's like free. You know what I mean? Like during that whole thing, like especially at the end, it was like realizing that she wasn't like really like dying. She was just like awakening. Yeah, she's being born into something like her new form or whatever. And so it was like getting a different understanding about like the death and dying process. Plus, it was like on my end, I had to face a lot of fear going into that, because I didn't know what to expect, and like I was just it went on for like days, of this like, is she okay? Is she not? And it was like trying to stay present and like kind of mindful at the same time. It's like, I can't just keep thinking, is she going to be alive? Is she not going to be alive? But then like I worked at a nursing home when I was in high school. And like every weekend I was like a janitor, as they called it, an environmental service engineer.
Yeah.
But like working in there, I was like exposed to a lot of people that are just like dying just of like normal condition. I don't. It seems abnormal. Even like watching like people, as they just get old, they just start deteriorating and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of is the whole thing is, I think, an illusion on some level, but at the same time, uh, really odd. And like yeah, but like you get to a point where you just recognize these same kind of patterns of just people that just go downhill to the point where it's like, oh, yeah, they're in like kind of like they're only gonna be around for like a day or two. I mean, there's like the final stage, where you watch this whole process. And I'm sure if like you're maybe in hospice or like I don't know, a nurse or just anybody that's around that shit, it's probably like an elaborate process that they're aware of. But like for me, it was just like you'd see that same pattern, and it was
Mm-hmm.
weird because like it was the same pattern that happened with my dog.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so it makes me like wonder, then plus I killed a dozen chickens like
Oh man, I was wondering if this was going to come into the conversation because, like, like anyway, let's keep going. I'll let you keep going because you're getting it off of your chest. I'm just very interesting. Yeah.
Well, I killed 12, I think, yeah, 12 chickens. I don't know how recently. I mean, it was like not that long ago. I mean, we still have some of them in our freezer, but like yeah, and like one of the things about one of the chickens in particular, because there was a couple that didn't have like that great of a death that I thought, at least, I tried to do it as good as I could do, where it's just like instantaneous,
Mm.
where it's just like put them in the cone and then do head off, just
Oh God.
you
Yeah.
know.
It's
But
so it's too hard. Hey, like I said last time, I go to Woolworths and I buy chicken breast for like $4 or whatever. That's no different to killing the chicken and eating it. I'm not claiming to be a better person, but I just don't know how you do it. Oh my God.
well, one of them in particular, by the time I got to it, the cone was like really brutal looking. I mean, it was covered in blood and shit, and like, so I grab it, and this one in particular seemed like really aware of what was going on,
Mm.
and it was like screeching, and just like really just throwing a fit, and like having to deal with that end of things too, as like, it was like really like, I don't know,
It's
like the
graphic,
energy.
isn't it? It's like
Yeah, I mean,
graphic
it's
and
it's like barbaric, not barbaric, but like, I mean, it's like no different than like a wolf that catches something and just starts eating it. I mean, it's just like, oh shit. I mean, this is as real as
yeah,
it gets.
but barbaric is the like that's not your intention, but like it is barbaric. I think
Is
that's
that
a
the
good
is that
word.
the best word?
I think that's pretty close to it. It's like I was thinking cinematic, but that's like completely the wrong word. But like it's that
Brutal.
it's like yeah, it's the reason I'm thinking cinematic and theatrical and stuff is because it doesn't seem real. Like I wouldn't think like something like that would be real, but
Mm,
because it is brutal and kind of what's the word? Yeah, it's kind of like barbaric. But that's like a that's kind of it's like finding the word for presence, right? I mean, presence is
yeah,
probably the closest thing to what we try and define as now. But yeah,
yeah, because you could easily maybe take that the wrong direction. If
yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
yeah. It's not
like that one.
in a good way. Not in a good way. It's just like not in a real barbaric way. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like it's
yeah. I
kind
mean,
of
if
like gruesome maybe a little gruesome. Yeah,
gruesome. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean it is gruesome. I mean
yeah,
it don't get any. I mean less gruesome. I mean it's like because
yeah.
the whole process is not just cutting their heads off; it's then gutting them.
Yeah.
So it's like you
Fuck
gotta
me, man. That's
like
yeah. I struggle with
rip it out.
fish. Yeah, like seeing a fish get gutted, like let alone a chicken, man. Oh,
Yeah, I
but
mean it's intense and like I would like stare at them right, like in their eyes as they were dying. It's like I don't mean to say that as like, oh, like look at that psychopath.
that's
But it,
borderline. That's borderline.
but it's just like I was like trying to just like not have like a fearful look, because like they were looking at me like I betrayed them on some level, and so
Oh
so it was
God.
like having to process that and deal with it and whatever, that was just like part of it. But like I started thinking about that though with like my dog, and then I still got all these chickens outside. I got those three turkeys, which are getting big. Then I have eight, 7 or 8 in the one pen, and then 4 in the other one. Of
Yeah.
just egg laying birds. But if anything were to start to have, one of them got ate by something not that long ago, and it didn't even really eat it. It just like bit its back and just like ripped a big section of its flesh off, and then that was it. So it's like, what the fuck would do that?
Well,
It's like,
yeah. I saw the other day. I don't know. I think it might have been a Joe Rogan clip on my phone. Um, and yeah, like, was it Joe Rogan or something? But there's this like Indian guy who was sitting still with his legs crossed and his back straight, and he'd been meditating for a while. And I mean, that's kind of like the ultimate thing, right? Finding peace and no harm, and just enjoying life and the beauty of life. And this monkey jumps on his lap, and like I think it was Joe Rogan, because then he said like what happened was the monkey bit his face,
Oh
and
my gosh.
the monkey grabbed the dude's head and ripped like about 30 to 40 centimeters. What's that, like, I don't know, 25 inches of his skin and skull away.
Wow.
Yeah, and he let the monkey jump on his lap. Like, just didn't move. He was just sitting there meditating. So
Yeah.
it's kind of what I'm trying to get at is with what you're saying there as well, with the half bitten chicken, is like, do you know what? Like, this world, man, is so brutal. Like, it's just,
Yeah,
it's like, it doesn't matter
it's like
whether we're sitting here talking about the struggles of trying to grow a business and have 3 people join, and that's just a head fuck, or whether you're trying to flip houses and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? There's just so many things that, like, it just seems to me like this place that we've been sent to. I know I'm going off the track, but it's just, I don't know, man. I'd just like to know what this lesson is we're supposed to learn down here.
Yeah, because when you really look at nature, everything is like either, because having these chickens, you realize, like predatory like things and like what that really means. It's like it's easy to kind of like have a have like I don't know, an imagining of like the predatoriness of nature, but it's another when you actually see something dead, and like ripped apart, and just like it's like, oh, I fucking knew that chicken, or it's like, it's like, or doing it yourself even, and it's like, I don't, if you look at my chickens, there's like hawks that fly by every once in a while, and like a hawk will easily go after a hen. That's like
Yeah,
the main thing a rooster does, is it protects the hens from predatory animals, especially hawks, because what the hawk will do is try to kill the hen, but immediately the rooster, he'll sacrifice himself to basically get access to mating with all the chickens and having them like kind of like obey him and all this kind of shit. It's just like, the same thing with these turkeys. It's like a lot of like their nature is just how they are. It's like they're kind of a curiosity to them. But if you're wearing sandals, they'll try to peck your toes. And if they were big enough, they'd probably try to take one of them.
yeah.
Without really thinking about it.
It's really weird. It's so messed up, isn't it? But I
Well, and
mean,
that's what the chickens do literally all day long, is they just walk around like rooting and pecking and eating shit. Bugs, ants, that's all they do all
yeah.
day long.
Oh, it's so crazy. It's so crazy because it's, a lot of all of this stuff kind of leads me back to, like, thinking about, you know, something I was going to talk about towards the end, but, like, like this place being somewhere in between, like a simulation and, I mean, if you think about it, and if everything we've been told is true, and let's face it, like, most things aren't, but, on a subatomic level, even like this coffee mug that I've got sitting next to me is vibrating. Um, and I heard this thing the other day, on YouTube, and I was like, because I've had some things, because I noticed one of the things that you mentioned in one of your videos this week was about, coincidence, and you were kind of, I don't know, you're kind of very strong in your words about it. And, like, for me, some of the things that have happened recently, up, like, including yesterday, were so profoundly, like, it's like so impossible. And this has happened so many times now, um, that it's almost like it's programmed. Like, these things, these events that are occurring are programmed, um, and, like, this video was talking about how everything, the whole universe, everything that we know vibrates, and we just interpret that vibration through our senses and whatever else. And it was saying that it believes that whatever things are tuned into, like the vibrational tuning of things, has been detuned or tuned away from what we know as, like, the original Earth, like where the sky was blue and it just seemed like infinite. Whereas now, look, you look outside and you're like, is that even fucking real up there? Like, You know what I mean? Like, a couple of people have talked about how like it's like a low ceiling, like we're like, we don't even really looking into the sky.
Yeah, we
Um,
had a thunderstorm that came in a day or two ago that was like almost looked like a tire in the sky. It was just like this big round mass of clouds that were just,
yeah.
it's like first time I've seen something like that.
Oh, it's so fucked up. The things that, it just goes on. I mean, I think we can just sit here and recite all the stuff we've talked about before, but um, like I'm not even gonna bring up what happened to me because I'm so sick of talking about my work. But the event that has occurred occurred to me yesterday. Like I've been knowing that's been coming has only made me. It used to just beat all these things used to beat me down, but it's only making me stronger and stronger, and it's only making me realize now how much there's like a group of us. Like I don't know what the number is, and there must be tens of thousands of us. Um, the ones that you don't hear about, the ones that aren't on YouTube, that are mixed amongst. Like I think there's way more than we know about, but that are mixed amongst the population of people that are either are from literally another planet, like as in, we're on Orion, which is a different place, or it's a simulation, or these people like aren't even people, they're like creatures and we're just interpreting them to be like human because they somehow know how to adjust the vibration so we view them as human. I'm going as far as to say this one of these people said that he thinks their parents aren't even fucking real. And you know what, like I have enough evidence in my own head to think that my family's changed. Like there's so many things that have happened, and so many of these, and like the way you aggressively said, like coincidences during the week, really got me thinking about it in one of your videos. And I'm like, do you know what? Like, I kind of feel the same way. Like, it's kind of like it's almost like this shit is programmed. And this video, the YouTube was talking about um, how it's become like digital. I know we've joked about it and stuff, whatever else, but it's like no shit. Like, um, and I think all of this is coming to a head, Muzz. I reckon we're getting more and more close to like something breaking through that's going to be good, because it can't just keep going like this, because so many people are working out that this is just fake. Like it's so fucked up. Like everything's so obvious.
Yeah, a lot of people I talk with, are not even watching the news anymore.
Yeah.
It's like I'll just talk to people from just doing jobs and stuff and going to church. I'm around quite a few people. I'm like, at this point, we have like a fair going on in town, and it's like you walk around and it's like, oh, I know that person, I know that person. It's just like knowing a lot of people and talking to a lot of people in town, and a lot of them are just like, yeah, this is. They don't even pay attention to shit anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
and where I live, like there was initial compliance, with a lot of the stuff going on, but then a lot of it kind of went back to normal. Um, when a lot of like the more like liberal parts of the country were just still locked down and shit. Like the governor was still like being a like a bitch about it, but like a lot of the population was like just doing whatever. Like I went to like a destruction derby with these cars, and there was, I don't know, maybe 1,000 people. I don't know. There was a shitload of people, and it's like nobody was doing it, and everybody was, we're all outside watching the derby and everything. No one was like wearing masks or anything, and like it was hosted by the fire department, so it was like, and it was like nobody gave a shit. And so I don't know, as far as like a lot of, but a lot of people like really despise Democrats and liberals, where I
Oh,
live.
I have an American from um, Oregon at work who's just he's a fucking know-all, and he's like this really big dude who's like has a boyfriend and stuff, like they're getting married, and he's like I was joking about um, let's go Brandon like probably a month ago, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, let's go Brandon, like, and he's a Democrat, I didn't realize. And I'm like, Trump 2024, baby, like this. Like I didn't think I was gonna set him off. This guy doesn't even talk to, like, I've people at work have said he's like talking shit behind my back and stuff, which is fine. You can do whatever. He's a Democrat, I don't give a shit. But like, I know that not all Democrats are like that. There's a really nice Democrat say that, and I'm not even American. I don't even vote. And you know what? I don't think Trump's perfect. But you know, I think he's a lot better than like the other far out, the other bullshit. I mean,
Well,
over here,
what bothered me is like, oh, you know, unless you hate this guy, we can't be friends.
oh yeah. So like, you know, like I'm, you know, like I forgive his like choice of like lifestyle, and I forgive his like arrogance and his just know all stuck up fuckingness. And then he was like, he goes, "Oh, tolerate someone from another party, but you know, you can't say things about gay rights." And I'm like, I said, "Let's go, Brandon. Like, where are you pulling all this other shit from?" I'm like, I said, I felt like saying, "Sorry, Karen, like, just settle down." But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Who's fucking Karen? Like, is that your name? Have you changed your name as well? Like, did you cut your dick off and call yourself Karen or what? Like, you know?
Yeah, you're identifying as a Karen.
Do you identify as Karen? Do you want me to give you a tea towel and a mop? What? Like, what the fuck? Anyway, so this shit goes on, and like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm really, I guess I'm kind of leveling up in a way from, maybe it's the same way as you've always leveled up and stuff, but I'm leveling up in my own knowledge of like, first of all, self-reflection of knowing like where my imperfections are. I think I've been reasonably good at that before, but now I'm like, okay, well, here's all like my faults, here's all my strengths, but also like every time the opposition, and it feels like there's an opposition, like whatever this system is that we're in, every time it fires a shot at me, even if I'm like a little Lego figure in comparison to like a mountain, if we're talking about it like let's just call it an agency that I work for, but it's not like, it's like, I don't want to mention where it is again, but like, you know, it's either government or enterprise and kind of thing, if you get me.
Yeah.
So it's like a thing. It's like little Lego man versus this mountain. If the mountain fires all of its strength at me, I shoot back, and I'm just as powerful in the shots that I shoot back. And you know, I think I've reached a point now where it's like, what is the worst thing that can possibly happen to me? And if that does happen, if I lose my job, or you know, if I'm on the street, or if they kill me, or whatever it is, like I still am, like I still go on to something better. Do you know what I mean? It's
Right.
like you can't stop. You can't stop what's coming for this system. Like, what you can't stop what this system is going to get. Whatever it is, whoever it is that flick the switch on this place. And you know, I'm really vibing with like them tapping into the vibration of life. I think that's how they've done it, or the devil's done it, outside of like God. And you know, it's all part of God's plan, big plan. Do you know what I mean? So these people can't fucking win. And there's a few things that have happened. I know I said I wouldn't talk about my work, but there's a few things that have happened and I call it being upside down. Like, that's what I consider everything now, is that the people who are, I'm going to use the most polite term I can. Let's call it the least skilled, but these people are retarded, man. Like, they are so fucking should not be employed, are getting promotions, right? It's insane because it's laughable. And even the Orioners are like, what the fuck is going on? Like, the Orioners are going, why wasn't it? Because they're always about them, you know? Like, I'm happy to accept that someone else gets a position over me, whether I think they're better at me or not. But when it comes to someone who's clearly like, it's upside down, so the Orioners, of course, are all like, oh, like, why wasn't it me? Like, this person's so like retarded, like, you know, and they're not even considering of anyone else but themselves. Yeah, it's just so crazy. But then I used to have these conversations with you back on the panel ages ago at my old place, 5 years ago, whenever it was. And I would be like, just tell me, like, what is it? Why is it happening? And all this sort of stuff. And all of that is gone now because I know that there's something underlying all of this that's going on. And the only power that I have is inside of me. Like, I mean, we can team up as a team, and there can be other people that can be on the team, or you can have your workers or your wife or whatever. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, that you only have yourself in this thing, right? It's important to have family and friends and all that sort of stuff. And I guess because I don't necessarily have much of that, it's made it easier to understand like that present side of things. I mean, I heard you talking about your dog the other day, and even though you may not have known it, I mean, I really just wanted to say it when you said it, but those last moments with your dog, like, and that's, pardon me, that's being present for your dog. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you were giving yourself, your time to your dog, and then the way the dog left, it was just the same sort of thing. Like, it's a beautiful thing, man, because as you were talking about, like, giving it the most expensive things. And it's why, like, I try and do the same with my cats to a degree, but you can't, the best thing you can give anyone or anything is like that presence, right? It's, you've given examples before where you've done that right up to the end, and I think outside of that, like you were talking before about flipping houses, and what I wanted to jump in and say was, like, so long as you enjoy it, because if you don't enjoy it and it's just about the money, then you lose that presence, don't you? And
Yeah, the funny thing about it is a lot of times, like when I'm doing like different jobs, like I just finished like painting this house, like the bricks on it. But then another guy came in, he did the siding and everything, and the house looks fucking slick now. It's like,
yeah,
but the thing I like about doing like that kind of stuff is just afterwards when you're like driving around town, you can see all the things that you've like
oh yeah,
done. And it's like, oh, I planted that tree, I painted that house, like, and it's like you just like drive around. It's like, shit, I've done a lot of stuff in like around this town,
yeah,
and like that's kind of like what I enjoy about it, and I kind of like it like physically staying in shape. And so it's like a lot of that kind of stuff is like up and down physical and lifting buckets of paint or drywall mud or sheets of drywall or lumber or whatever. It's like for me, keeps me
that's what I
feeling
mean. Like,
fit.
you're enjoying what you're doing, right? So, like, that's the important thing more than anything.
Yeah, because like, I was doing music, and like the opportunity is still there to continue just to make licensing tracks and stuff and doing that. But like, I got to a point because I created so much music,
Yeah.
it was like, what am I doing this for? It's like, am I just doing this just to do it? Am I even enjoying what I'm doing? Is this, and like I got to a point where I was just only really recording those like guitar cover songs, because like with them, I was like enjoying like putting out energy for others, because it's like I feel like when you watch somebody do live music, you can like kind of vibe with their energy, and
Mhm.
so it's like a way to like for one be super present because like when I play guitar, I don't have any of that mental chatter shit going on.
Oh no, it's like
Like
when I DJ'd, and I, like, because that was the thing. Like, you go into that zone, right? Like, a minute before you're nervous because you're anxious and this and that and whatever. But as soon as you're up there, it's just like all the motor skills come in, and you're in your own space. You might have a crowd there, but you are in your space
yeah, it's like
zone.
it's yeah, you're just in the zone and like that being able to like do that with like a guitar makes it a lot more transferable in other areas of like, oh, I don't have to just sit here and like tolerate disharmony all the time. It's like that space exists, and I feel like there's infinite amount of ways to like tap into like that awareness. It's like it might be different for like if you're painting a room, for example, you can get into like a flow state that's different than the guitar.
I don't.
um
Oh, Mars, I disagree, because, like, think about it, like with the guitar though, like yes, you're enjoying it and all that. Like it's a full, you're like physically in a flow as well. It's like with turntables and DJing and stuff like that. It's getting the BPM right. It's you're EQing. It's picking the tunes and all those sorts of things. It's like the paintbrush, the roller, if you go into painting a wall with a careless and just sloppy approach, like, and you're not in the same thing. It's like a guitar. Like if you get up there drunk as or whatever, and if you're really drunk and you're not in the zone, even though you know how to play it and the motor skills is kind of there, it's the same sort of thing. Like I think there's a flow state like that comes along with being like well versed in practice, but also enjoying it definitely. But it's another gear, Muzz. Like it's another gear. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like this next step, and it doesn't have to be a higher step or a left step or a right step or whatever. It's just this other state that you switch to. You can do that with anything, so long as you enjoy it and you practice and etc. But
Yeah, you can tell, if you have a lot of resistance in your mind, too. It's like, oh, this is something that's like causing a lot of resistance and shit. That's also one of those things you can start to just examine the mental narrative of like
mm-hmm.
which what you're telling yourself while something's going on, because like I've noticed that too, where it's like, because I'll do all sorts of like different things during the day. It's like I could be mowing, I could be power washing, like it could be a handful of things, but
Yeah,
it's like some things are more like physically difficult, and you'll get this like story of like, oh, here we go again. I got to do this, and it's going to be difficult. This is going to be hard. Hopefully this goes fast, and it's like everything but just accepting reality for like the present moment. It's
yeah.
just like, oh, I'm totally just gonna be. Can't wait till this is done. So this entire experience is just gonna be a fucking resistance and draining situation.
Yeah, it's
You know?
funny because like what you're talking about there is there's a very thin line between the normal world and in the zone. There's a very very tiny thin line, almost like thinner than fishing wire, like chicken wire or whatever. It's like there's a very very tiny line between what you're calling as resistance, which prevents you from getting into that circle, um, and you can call it acceptance or letting go. And I think when you accept or let go, or that's the moment that you're just there, right? You've arrived. Once the in between the resistance and the acceptance and the letting go. And like I've said this before, like it's the easiest thing to do and it's the hardest thing to do, because if you're thinking about it, good luck. It's
Right.
like, you start
Yeah, that's
thinking
part.
about
That's
anything
part of
like
the
that.
problem is you start thinking too much.
Yeah, or
You're,
you think about it, you got no hope. But it's the second you just let go, you know what I mean? You let go, and that makes it the easiest thing. But try and tell someone to let go. It's like trying to sleep at night. You know what I mean? Like it's so easy. Like really, like I just like out every night. But then there's been nights before where those nights where you can't sleep, and 100% it's your mind, it's your the thoughts.
no,
So
especially I get it, especially if I'm like getting in an argument, and then it's like the argument continues on in the
oh
mind for
yeah,
for like who knows, hours, if not
yeah,
half the day, and it's like you really get like I start to ask myself, it's like, okay, am I getting like obviously I'm getting some sort of pleasure from this in some weird way, or I wouldn't just keep doing it. It's like I feel like there's like got to be some sort of payoff for all these attack thoughts I keep holding, like attacking the other person, like thinking like, oh, why am I continuously spending the here and now doing this?
yeah,
And like a lot of times just recognizing that has been helpful, but then realizing that it's like I'm I'm trying to go from like feeling uncomfortable to comfortable, or like some sort of torment, going from feeling tormented to some sort of a pleasurable thing, and on some level it feels like satisfying to like attack back, but then it's
yeah.
like kind of a downward spiral to it then too. But
Yeah,
like,
and again, there's kind of two different things there with like attack back, because like I know exactly what you're talking about. Because for me, like like if I have alcohol, for example, like I haven't had alcohol now in like 7 weeks or something.
Oh, there you
Um,
go.
so yeah, I'm like good. I found for anyone that listens to Muzza's channel that's listening to this now, if you ever, and there would be, I would imagine, not necessarily on your channel, but someone that comes across this, have ever having trouble with alcohol, there's a guy on YouTube who I cannot recommend enough to anyone, and his name is Sober Leon, and pretty much his philosophy is exactly the same philosophy as that I've had along the way that's helped me do 3, 6, and 12 months and all that sort of stuff. But there was one part of it that he talks about. Actually, I shouldn't say one. There's a few, but there's two in particular. One of them is this thing where I got to like say 3 months or 6 months or whatever, and thought, okay, well, there's other people out there that can have one or two drinks. So, like, is there something wrong with me? And man, this guy absolutely nails it. He's like, every single alcoholic drink is ethanol. Ethanol's poison. It does nothing for you, will never ever do anything for you. And if they choose to do it, they're choosing to have ethanol or have the poison inside of them. That's their choice to do that. You just don't even want to have it. There's no reason, and there's nothing wrong with you at all. So this is very different to kind of AA philosophy in that. But he's like, why is it that someone can smoke cigarettes for like, however many years? I think I smoked for like 4 years. How can someone smoke for cigarettes for 4 years? You're called a smoker, but when you quit, you're not called a smokeaholic for the rest of your life. You may never have a cigarette ever again. Doesn't mean you're a smokeaholic. That if you have one,
Right.
whatever. It's alcohol usage. What is it? Alcohol usage disease or whatever it's called. That's different. Alcoholic is an AA term. But anyway, sorry, I'm going off a bit here. But when I'm drinking or have been drinking in the past, like, yes, there's like spirit or demons come over you, whatever it is. But, now that I'm like sober and stuff, like I'm really starting to see, like before I was talking about firing back at my work. And I think there's times when you can say, you can definitely say no to people or no to individuals, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think there's times when you can fire back as well. Like it's necessary to, because like, it's like the chickens and the eagles and the lions that, I watched a video the other day of this, like it was on the shorts of YouTube. This lady carrying this terrified like lion cub. It was just horrible. I felt sorry for both of them, but mostly for the lion cub. And just the sound it made and stuff. Like, I think it's okay to fire back like the lion cub was, like making this horrific noise.
Well,
Um,
if you don't in nature, you'll be like eaten.
yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, exactly. So I think what you're talking about there is, again, I keep saying this fine line. I don't know why I'm doing that today. I'm just because everything's a fine line, but it's a fine line between like your ego like running the show, which is where like there's that perpetual motion of like rumination of just going over and over the same thing. um there's that, and then there's also a solid no or a shooting back. If you're the Lego man against the mountain, again, I don't know where I'm coming up with these analogies, but like, to describe something like insignificant that's so significant, because we're all so significant in this place, like we're all being sent here for whatever it is, maybe not even for a reason, like, but we're here and we exist, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with like shooting back, but I think, like you were saying before, it's like you fire back, not to hurt the other person, but you defend, right? I think that's what you're saying now, right? You defend that situation, but then it's about letting go, right?
Well, it was like someone who's been to jail for drinking,
Mm.
related offenses. It's glad to hear that you're, going, get all that like knowledge from that guy. I'm gonna put like sober. I wrote it down. Sober
Sober
Leon.
Clear. Oh, sorry, no, Sober Leon. The name of the YouTube is Sober Leon. So two separate words, Sober and then Leon, Leon. He runs
Yeah.
a thing called Sober Clear. He's an English dude. But like I can tell you now, there's been times when I've quit before and I've said, oh, I'll have no drinks for a week or 2 weeks, whatever. This is like I've quit and I have no reason to drink again, but I don't want
That's
to.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I've been, I don't even know how long I've been like without like drinking, a
Yeah,
long time, but like
good.
we had some like vodka in the house not that long ago. Didn't even tempted to even fuck with it, just
That's
because
good.
I had such a downward spiral with it, but
Yeah.
like being like in that environment though, if some people will like shit test you, and if you don't set like a boundary,
Yeah.
then it escalates. It doesn't get better, and you see that with like even like the COVID drama. You see how like that if
Yeah.
you didn't say no and set a boundary, well then it's like even more invasive the next time.
Oh
And it's
yeah.
like well, no, you get the jab, well now you get your third booster. It's like when does this? It's like you got to set the boundary, or just like you're just going to be walked over by just people wanting to enslave other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel empowered, man. I feel not just from the drinking side is something separate. That's just something that like I now because I used to think it was this big thing, and this
Like a
guy's made me
pedestal.
realize it's not. It's no different to like stopping anything. Um, so like these people that like when they have like you mentioned vodka in the house and or can't walk past a pub and stuff, they have like that's like a habit thing more so than anything. And I know that there is like I know there is um like a physical like thing as well, but that physical thing is only short lived, like it's only days. Like once you're past the physical thing, which is very short term, it's very much like a habit thing, and a psychological thing as well. So but yeah, if you're able to just go like that is it. Like I've got a bottle of I have a bottle of Chardonnay, which I never used to drink anyway. A bottle of Chardonnay and a half bottle of Chardonnay in my cupboard that I just haven't gotten rid of. And that was for cooking. It was supposed to be like a Riesling thing. This is when I was drinking. I have one beer in a bottle this is in the pantry, by the way. And one bottle of beer, Tui Extra Dry, which I didn't drink, was my dad's when he was here. That's in the cupboard. And I have a Star Wars Millennium Falcon beer can that, again, I bought not to drink, but to keep as a thing in the cupboard. So, like, like it means nothing. Like, I can walk past it. I'm lucky. I should say I'm lucky because I know everyone's not the same. I can walk past all of the bottle shops. I mean, we have more bottle shops and supermarkets in Australia. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, everywhere you go, there's a bottle shop.
Yeah,
Um,
we got a shitload of them here too.
yeah, I mean, and do you know what? Like, I've saved, like I've paid off my debts, so my debts are paid off, but I've saved like 3 grand in 7 weeks. Like, and
Oh,
that's
I
for
bet.
Australian wise, like for the wage I'm on and stuff. That's like huge.
Oh, I
Like I've
bet.
never had 3 grand sitting in my account. I'm like, how's this? Like, and everything else comes along with it. You start eating better and stuff, but I'm not buying like junk food, which costs like, to take out food, which is like 20 or $30. Like, I'll have an omelet instead, which is like $1.50 or $2 at home,
Yeah,
you
you
know?
could even like start to upgrade your like palette if you're gonna have that much extra. Like you're not spending in one area, you can like compensate by maybe getting really nice floor like a something for like
Organic
your
food and
water.
stuff.
Yeah, organic food, but then filters for your water. Where you can get like really awesome tasting water.
Let, let,
Uh,
let, let me just take a photo. I'll just do it now. So keep talking. I'm just grabbing the box that's just arrived. I'll take a photo of that.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like all that kind of like upgrades of stuff. To me, water is funny because it's like the only thing in reality that you can overindulge in every day, and it's good for you.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, it's like you can drink 6 cups of water. It won't make you fat. It's good for you, and more than likely, it's healing you somehow too.
Yeah. That didn't do what I wanted it to do. Hang on a sec. Yeah, no, you're right. And like being able to, yeah, uh, I'm on my phone so I can add people's snapshot share screen. I don't think I can do it on my phone, but yeah, I've purchased. Let me tell you the model. I think it was made in Australia. It's a Waters Bio Mineral Pot Bio 500 filter,
Oh, there you go.
which is removes up to 99.99% of fluoride.
There you go. That's what I was like gearing towards.
Yeah, yeah. So this covers like everything, but it takes the fucking fluoride out the water.
There you be part of the
So good.
solution.
That's it. I mean, that was $800, and I still have 3,000 sitting there, whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to
Couple of
buy
thousand.
a pellet stove for the winter, which
Yeah,
is gonna
nice.
be, because my house is all electric, and like my mom has a pellet stove in her house, and she heats her house very warm for like $8 a day in
Mhm.
pellets, which I was normally spending in my electric like $20 a day, and
Mhm.
so that should be like a huge savings.
It's good.
Um, Plus, my house will feel warm for like a change.
Yeah, nice. Because you guys at the moment are heading into winter, aren't you? Like you're not far
It's
off.
the first trees are starting to change color.
Right.
I actually pulled up the temperature, so it's 15 degrees or 15.5 degrees Celsius. So it's starting to get
That's
kind of
chilly.
chilly at
Yeah.
night, which is typical for this time of year. Um, it's not abnormal. It's like it was like really warm the other day, but like yeah, it's starting to you can definitely feel the change in the air. A little bit brisker air. The sun, you can see like the getting darker earlier and stuff, and so I'm not
Yeah.
sure when the clocks change or whatever, but I used to bring the chickens in at 9 o'clock. Now it's like 8 o'clock and it's dark, and so I, I normally look for Orion, the constellation this time of year,
Yeah.
because like here in like this part of the realm,
Yeah.
you, you start
Disc.
see,
Disc.
yeah you start seeing that and yeah, and so
Well, you know about
we
Orion.
have Christmas trees out at Lowe's already though.
Yeah, we've got Christmas lights in our building that have started, and people have been saying, "Geez, like, how about Christmas?" And I'm like, "Wow, what is going on?" Like, that's happening really early this year. I don't know whether it's the pandemic that's caused this or what, but a few things there that you talked about that I'm not going to let slip. Just because I said that, my brain's choosing not to go there. First of all, today is our first warm day of the year, which is about 83. So in Australia, we've had abnormal, just rainfall like you've never seen across the country. So like this year has just been next level. Of course, there's a volcano in Tokyo today that went up. There's the Tonga, which is near New Zealand, the eruption there. So there's a lot of stuff going on. There's earthquakes all over the place. So I think I think it's. I'm not saying that there's like end times or anything like that, but I think the Queen passing, and did you notice how she died on the 6th of the 9th or 9th of the 6th, and she's 96 and all that stuff?
No, I
Uh,
knew I heard that she died, but then other than that, I didn't pay much attention to her
yeah. Oh
funeral
no,
or
no,
any of
I,
that kind
I
of
didn't.
stuff.
The most watched event ever. I didn't watch it. There was that during the Formula One, which I love Formula One racing. They did a minute silence for it, and during the whole minute, I mean, like, I would never normally do this. Like I was talking, and I was like saying, "I can't believe like you had so much money, and you let so many poor people. You had the world's most expensive watch, $50 million watch."
Like a
Um,
wristwatch,
yeah, wristwatch. Well, for a lady's watch, like
a
fifty
little
million
pocket
dollars.
watch, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy.
allegedly that there's kids that have been shipped through the palace that never come back. Like you eat them and stuff. Like I was just sitting there going, you know what? Like if I'm wrong, like strike me down or whatever. Like but you're not a good person and you do not deserve a minute's respect. Like, I was pretty disrespectful, but like I don't believe anything anymore anyway. Like
Right.
everything's such a fucking like fast. Like, I still respect where respect's due, but like, man. And then like, I don't know if you've seen, but I saw this morning. Um, when Charles like signed the papers to become king, like he looked to his right because the person that was there hadn't moved something out of the way. So he gave them this evil look, but the whole bottom of his jaw like shuffled sideways and his bottom row of teeth were like pointy.
Wow.
And it was fucked up. I was like, oh my God. Like it's on YouTube, so like you
I have
see
to
it.
look at it.
Yeah, yeah, have a look at it. But like, oh my God, like there was like gaps in his teeth and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is not a good dude. Um, but but anyway, so yeah, 28 degrees today. So we're getting a bit warmer. But there's some other things you mentioned there, Christmas and stuff. Um, yeah, I knew I'd lose my track of thought. There's a couple of things you mentioned that were important, but yeah. So you've got your like winter coming. That's what
Yeah.
I was thinking about. But
Yeah,
yeah.
and so like I'm also just went to a hip doctor yesterday, and I'm
Mhm.
gonna have like my hip replaced in November, and
Get
so
out.
yeah, so like I will have like 5 weeks or 6 weeks, I guess, where like I am in recovery or whatever,
Yeah.
which from like Thanksgiving till like first like of the new year is generally pretty slow for my business. Not a lot of like handyman jobs, during that time. Besides like, oh, something broke and it's like urgent that you come out here and take a look at it, stuff like
Yeah.
that. But like, a lot of people aren't, improving their home at that time. But like, yeah, and so I guess I'm gonna spend that time recovering, whatever that looks like. It's
So
like
this is from that injury you had ages ago, right?
it's like part of like this family weird thing with hips. Yeah, it's like my dad's got both of his hips replaced. My younger brother already has both of his hips replaced. Um, like a lot of people on my dad's side of the family have like hips replaced and shit. So I
Yeah.
think there's like a genetic thing going on, but I also think there's like a bad mindset thing going on then too, because like I've been like tracking back, my introduction to this like family curse when I was
Mm.
a kid, and like how that got brought to me. I definitely remember reacting out of fear about it and not wanting that kind of drama at all. And like yeah, and I've looked through this whole progression. There's like a lot of anomalies and weird shit going on with it. I wasn't even going to do anything about it, to be honest with you. Like it's been like really my wife urging me to, which I think she sees what's going on. Well, like last year, I during the winter, I gained a bunch of weight. I was like 200 pounds. When I went to like weigh in today or yesterday when I went to the doctor, I was like
Yeah.
180 pounds. So it's like I've lost like
That's
20
good.
pounds,
That's really
and
good.
and so I'm still trying to like get down to like another 15 more pounds and like
Mm.
get to like 165 ish, and like but the thing of it is, it's like the less I weigh, like the less pain like I feel like in my hips, and so the problems I was having at like 200 pounds I wasn't having now, and but at the same time, she's like looking at like stuff going on with me. It's like just get them fixed. I'm sick of seeing you like suffering or whatever. But it's like I've like dealt with it so long that there's really not suffering going on. It's like I don't even think about it. It's like I just endure for like the first little bit, and then it just like you just walk it off. It's like but there's not a whole lot of drama going on about like being a victim or feeling like handicapped or any of that kind of stuff, because like I do like just normal shit. It's like
It's
I
okay.
don't.
It's okay though to get these things fixed. I think like, do you know
Well,
what I mean? Like,
I wasn't gonna do it, and like I was like, but at the same time, I wasn't like hoping that things would get worse and deteriorate and shit like that either, But like I was like looking more towards like, um, like biblical healing, and like another way to describe it is like quantum healing is the same exact principles to that is like the same as like biblical healing, and like Dr. Joe Dispenza was like he was like talking about
yeah,
the quantum field and shit. It's the exact same shit, and so so I was just like kind of focused on that. And I noticed like improvement. And then when my dog was sick, I noticed as I was praying for her, my body felt better. And so like it's like, okay, well, something's connected with this, and it's like, just feel like, just with practice, it would just work itself out, and just like, for one, not even think about it, and then it would just naturally just be feeling normal. It's like when you have like a headache and you're sitting there like, oh, I just hope this don't get worse, and like, oh, it's not spreading, now it's a cluster fucking headache or whatever. And like the more you pay attention to it, like the worse it gets. But it's like the more you just like aren't fixated on now, like the more it just like, oh, when did it go away? It just faded away, and there wasn't really an exact moment you can point to that was just like, oh, it's just gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's similar to like that whole thing where like people can walk on those hot coals. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's the same sort of thing, isn't it? Because that's 1,000% a mental like thing, because it is still like feet touching, hot stone, like or like red hot, like
Yeah, I mean, like if you see like a fire like that, I mean, you could hear the like the science theory behind how that doesn't burn you, but like when you're faced with it, it's like holy shit. I mean, that's insane to think about walking on that.
yeah. We had a player today. This is really quick, nice segue as well. Like in the background, I have my television on, which is very rare. It's usually I've got the PlayStation on YouTube on the television, watching different things. But I've got it on our Channel 7 network today because it's like the Super Bowl of our sport in Australia. It's the AFL Grand Final. So it's like the end of year last match, and whoever wins is the champion kind of thing.
Oh, there you go.
Probably rigged, all that sort of stuff. That's where that's where I'm just trying to think. That's like in the Super Bowl, like it's like algorithms, YouTube page. It's probably all rigged, but yeah, we had a guy in my team, the Adelaide Crows, from like probably 10, 15 years ago. Like you probably find the story on YouTube, or you will if you look for it. His name was Nigel Smart. And at the start of the season, they had like a team bonding experience where they were going to walk across this, like, the fire. So he was the first to do it, and he started marching through it, and he burnt his feet so bad that like he had like 10 weeks off or something ridiculous. Like
Jesus.
it's like that's not a good way to start a season. So, but what's your thoughts on this? Like I came across it. I've got three things that I have to talk about today. Um, like I come across this video, and funnily enough, the guy listens to drum and bass music, which is great. I haven't reached out to him yet, but all of a sudden, you know how YouTube present, even though I don't have like a channel, like because I've searched for stuff on my PlayStation, it presents similar stuff, even though I don't have a channel.
All right.
And all of a sudden, I've been presented, and probably because I started looking into a bit about mushrooms, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's your thoughts? I mean, like I even watched one last night of this African American lady from the States. She was really funny, and she was talking about like having 10 grams of mushrooms or 5 grams or whatever. But she was saying, like, what's your thoughts on that in terms of like healing and like, the psychological side of things? Is that something you've looked at or experienced or
Mm,
anything like that?
well, like it's kind of probably similar to like taking like edibles, like with weed, like weed edibles, like in
Mm-hmm.
high doses. Like I've never really wanted to fuck around with like hallucinogenic things, mainly just out of I've like taken a lot of edibles, and it like had like a fucking like intense experience
Yeah,
that
same.
that it's like, okay, do I want to take it up another notch on top of that? Like the one time, I thought like I was like playing guitar at this bar, and like get done. At the time I was partying really hard and everything, and
Yeah.
like I see these guys like kind of sneaking to the other side of this building, and it's like, oh, I thought they were gonna like smoke a joint or something. And so it's like, I walked over there to see if they just let me like smoke it with them, and like yeah, they said I could, but then they said something about how there was like acid in it or something,
Oh, yeah.
which I don't know if that's real, because I said that to other people, and they said you can't smoke acid. But what happened to me was like a fucked up experience. So I don't know what the fuck it was really, because I didn't even believe it was acid. I thought, as I told him, I was like, yeah, that stuff died in the '60s. Good luck,
Yeah.
whatever. But I know that I fucking smoked it and everything. But it was like 30, 40 minutes later, I go to take a piss, and I felt like I was sinking literally into the floor, like
Mm.
just to do, and just
Yeah.
and then it just started to take this weird turn and everything. And so, like,
Ugh.
when it comes to like, maybe something like I'm more familiar with is like weed or whatever. I think there's like a vibration to it that if you're like really in a low state of being, it can help you on some level if you're like using it spiritually in a way that you're not feeling separate from God and separate from like heaven and everything else. Like you're not filled with a bunch of guilt and shame and all these kind of low energy states. But if you are using it as part of like a process, it can definitely raise you to the point where it's at. But if you go beyond that in your own like vibration or frequency, then it can like start to pull you down. So it's like
Yeah.
there's like kind of like a middle ground to it. But like it really get more depends, like I guess from my point of view, is like where's your faith in the whole thing? Because if you're doing it out of faith to try to connect to like God or like spiritual realm or what, that's kind
Mm.
of different than I'm using this to try to, you know, detach from my
No.
pain. You
Yeah,
know what I
no, no,
mean?
no. I totally 100%. And like, also conscious of being at a very sensitive time, like coming off of like a drinking like era,
Mm,
like however many years it is ridiculous. So yeah, it's not so much for me to do it now because I've experimented along the way with fucking, I've been, part of the reason I think I've shifted here is like, I would, if Life Matrix was on this conversation, like I'd be talking about like, yeah, sure, I've died and I'm here. That's part of the reason. Still, part of me thinks that because I've had so many experiences on these things where like I've been so close, and I think like, there's no confirmation that I actually came back with some of these things, plus hospital visits and stuff. But for all I know, like it's not until old age that we actually really die, that we just back into a different part of the, you know, okay, well, this time you're in the Orion belt, Oh, that's what I was going to say to you. Oh my God. I'm so glad we had
there
this
game.
conversation. By the way, another thing that's been coming up so much for me, because there's these videos that come up about this fucking James Webb telescope. And like now the Big Bang theory. Like, I don't know if you know this or seen this. I'm sure you have, but like Big Bang is no more. Like they've proven it can't have been a Big Bang. I mean, that's enormous. Like the fact that, and again, like I don't believe anything anyone tells me, let alone it was or wasn't the Big Bang. Like I don't believe any of it. But
Right.
it's interesting that the other side, whoever they are, is now saying that it is not a Big Bang, which is really interesting. And this bloody telescope that you see, like the new pictures of Jupiter and all of these planets that they're showing, and none of them are real photos. They're all CGI. And,
Right.
it's like, well, yes, James Webb is doing a digital photograph. I'm like, fucking suck my fat one. Nothing has made it past the dome. I swear to God, like, this is just all bullshit. But anyway, what I was going to say is, you was mentioning looking at Orion. I just didn't want to interrupt, but apparently Betelgeuse is about to go supernova, and I do believe this because they're prepping people enough to say that there's going to be a thing that we. And again, is it Betelgeuse or is it something else in the sky? But that we're going to see it during the day and night, and it's going to be brighter than the moon.
No,
How
that'd be
fun is
awesome.
that? Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
going to be on Orion. Apparently, Betelgeuse is the shoulder of the Orion. The Orion thing. What's it called? The Orion
The
um,
constellation.
constellation. Yeah. So
I
that
would,
could
I
be
would
pretty epic.
look forward to that. I've been waiting for that thing to pop for 25 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And again, this is probably another one of those things where I remember I was saying for so long, I was like, nothing ever happens in the sky. Like it's all bullshit. And if this does happen, then I probably have a part to play in Beetlejuice exploding. But like,
Yeah, two of us came together and just with our psychic connection,
just blew up the constellation. Yeah.
just created a big gamma wave radiation burst.
For sure, man. Um, but yeah, so that's been in my space.
But
Another
yeah,
one.
I was gonna say too, with like taking like edibles or whatever,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, if that's something like I don't know what the status of it is where you live, but like where I live, I mean, you can buy this shit just at this like the cigarette stores, and
Yeah,
it's like
this
I
is
get.
this is the problem we have. Is I can go to a place called Alterna Leaf, which is in Victoria, like where Melbourne is,
Mhm.
online, and you can have a free doctor like thing, and it's pretty easy. And you get either weed posted to you, like as in weed, or like you get it in oil form, which I'm like, that's yeah, fuck, hook me up. The problem is, man, because it's through pharma and the government, is just so fucking expensive, and it's illegal here. In my home state of South Australia, like it's decriminalized, so you can grow it, but in Queensland, you can't, and it's hard to get. It's really shit. But of course, you can get alcohol 5 meters out of my house and then 10 meters in the other direction.
Right.
And for a bottle of vodka, it's $35 Australian, because like 15 of that is Australian government tax.
Right.
So you know what I mean? Like it's so dodgy. Like cigarette packets here are like $38 for a pack of cigarettes. Can you believe that? I mean, not that
That's
I don't smoke, but
that seems like a lot.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of cash. So you know, everything's relative.
Does that deter people from smoking? Are they
Yeah,
vaping instead?
yeah, it's very rare. So people that go to Bali and places like that for holiday, smokers that go there, and then they're suddenly paying $3 for a pack of cigarettes in Bali, and then they come back and they can't bring certain amounts back. I mean, they sneak them in, they try to, but they're just like they've been smoking every day nonstop, and then they come back to the. It's just such a hard thing for them. It's like being in, I won't use the word alcoholic, but like a very high performing drinker. That's what I'm
Right.
gonna call myself. I made the grand final every day. Oh shit! I was a high performing athlete when it came to drinking alcohol. But no, obviously I can laugh at it, but like that was so expensive for me, man. So cutting that out, I'm like, I have all this money. It's like incredible.
Yeah, that's
Um,
awesome. Are you,
it's
what are
so
you,
good.
you should treat yourself with it. Like
Yeah.
we've been getting these things. I don't know if you have them where you live. Probably even more variety since you live in a big city. Where they just like ship you meals for dinner. And it's like
Ah,
it's
yeah.
like they'll send you all the ingredients and like the ingredients are good and it's like really good recipes and shit. And it's just like chop this up, do this, and they tell you how to do it, and it's just like everything's right there.
Few people at work have told me about that, and we have like light and easy and all those different ones and whatever. But um, the problem is because now I'm celiac, which again I
Oh,
believe,
gluten free.
yeah, like it's not only gluten free. Like, see, they do gluten free options. So
Hmm.
you go, oh, it's like great. They have like gluten free steak, gluten free chicken, gluten free, Asian stir fry and all this shit. But then you read the bottom, it says not suitable for celiacs because like there can be traces. Like I only need one particle of gluten, right?
Oh, you're
One, yeah, and then like you're
yeah.
gone.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, yeah. But you know what? Like I'm enjoying seeing like each payday, like I transfer the money into like I call it my piggy bank, like it's called piggy cash, which is like
Hmm.
my piggy bank. Transfer it into the other account, and it's like, yeah, I'm happy seeing that grow for a bit, so that I
Right.
know that if anything comes up or shit hits the fan, like I don't have a loan. Do you know what I mean? I don't have debt.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's even better.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't have a vehicle. I know that sounds crazy, and it's a little bit like Americans, like, oh, you don't have a gun, you don't have a vehicle, what? But yeah, like that's another thing. Like the highest, the thing that you can guarantee to die from is either heart attack or car accident in Australia. So
There you
you're
go.
ruling out. I'm in a big bus, man, so that protects me. If I need to, I get an Uber, but that's so rare. So again, I'm on my feet. I'm walking around the place. I'm walking to things, and you know, it's just. I mean, I'm not. It's not a fear of death. It's just ruling out some things, along the way.
Well, that's one of the things you can do to start facing that fear of death is like overdo it on some edibles.
No, I was gonna say that before. Like, I won't tell you, or like, I won't go into the details. But I don't necessarily. I'll tell you after the. I don't want this going on YouTube. But it was like a party, a big party back in the DJing days, and yeah, and definitely had weed after that. And I was in the shower. This is when I was with Olivia. God, this would have been. I would have been. It was early 2000s. I was with her, so this is 20 years ago, man. 20 fucking years ago. And yeah, I was in the shower, and it was up. We had an upstairs, like an upstairs, downstairs. It was upstairs shower, and the screen and the window was open. I was just showering. I'm like, oh man, because I just smoked some weed after after having a big, let's just say a big weekend. And yeah, it was like I seen the cross, like it was like a cross with a church. Even though I was like could see the glass window in front of me of the shower, and I could see outside. It was like there was this church with a cross on it coming towards me, like I was about to die. So I've been in that stage of several times of too far, gone too far. I know what you would. Don't worry, bro. I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, I've been further along the line with other things. So like I've been there and seen it, but it's just interesting, like listening to a lot of the stuff about mushrooms. I'm like, it's not like acid, because acid's like it's completely different compound, and this is natural, and like people have used it, and the people on the videos that I've watched are all talking. I mean, you mentioned like what's the purpose, like, and the purpose is psychological. It's like working through problems, man, like past problems. I've written this thing down for 3 things to talk about that I have to send you. There's one of them where I'll actually probably send you the one of the chick that I watched because it was really funny last night. I'll definitely send you that. This guy who I found who's like this intro drum bass, but he's like an American dude, somewhere in America. He just does up cars and has psychological problems, like very much like me, from the perspective of just doesn't want to go out and socialize. Like, I'm a social person, but I just don't want to do it. Like, I don't enjoy it. I enjoy interacting with people at work. I love that. And I love going to work to interact. So it's not like a fear. But on the weekends, I'm just so happy to give you a call or give my dad a call or might have my Django and Chewy sitting alongside me on the couch, like have the TV on. Like it's not like I enjoy my own company, like I'm super egotistical, but if I had a girlfriend here or a fiance or a wife, that'd be fantastic. So I'm not ruling that out, but I'm also content. Like, I'm not, the no drama thing we've talked about before. Like, fuck, man, that's one thing I just don't miss. Like there's that, but you also miss out on all the good stuff. But yeah, what I'm going to do is send you a couple of these videos. And the guy he's talking about, he has some sort of like whatever it's called when you have antisocial kind of thing, and talking about being a sociopath and all this sort of stuff. And apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Like, my mum won't tell you that she's got, I can't believe you say that. Like, you said that and you mean it. And I just, in the conversation I had with her, I was just silent because I was like, I'm not going to not tell you because I think that's the case. Like, I've seen enough information about it and I know how you behave. So apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And my sister, she's like passive aggressive. But with me, like, I know I was like been watching, like I watched on bipolar disease and stuff because I've been on like a medicine for like since I broke up with Erin and moved up here. So looking at bipolar, I'm like, fuck, this is something that I did have manic episodes. Or like, is this why I never got told that? But now that I've looked into it, I'm like, yeah, it's probably the reason. Like, I've had that's why this medicine, it works for me. You know what I mean? Like, but I've thought, like, I wonder if I can, like, apparently it's really hard to come off, and you have to see a doctor to come off of this stuff and whatever. But like, if I do that, I mean, I'm not saying something like weed or mushrooms will fix that, because I don't believe that to be the case, but can you kind of fix some of those problems? And I was like, you know what, I'm happy and I'm content, and I know that this is working right now. It's not like I have highs and lows or anything. I don't get high off of what I have. It just means I'm leveled out. they probably do have something that's sitting there, that has come up in my 20s, and like it's quite common for people to have that happen in their 20s and stuff. And considering my history, like it probably has happened to me. So, but yeah, like the mushroom side of things, this guy was talking about, like how he's used it to like work through, and he's looked back and he's had this experience. I'll send it to you so you can watch it, because I don't want to ruin the thing, because it's a really enjoyable 30-minute watch. So I won't tell you what happens in it, but when I saw what he said, even though the actual experience of what happened to him and his sister wasn't the same, it was something different. It was just about me. But when I was really young, I had an experience where I left the house to do something, and got in trouble for it as a real little kid. And I was told not to do something, and I did it because the people that were with me convinced me, but I was only really little, and I got into so much trouble for it.
Hmm.
And it's something that's really kind of, I look back and thinking that's like the first thing I ever got in trouble for. And in a way, I think it's kind of impacted me through my whole life. So watching this video has been really useful, but he's kind of got these insights out of doing that. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I could do that.
I
But
mean,
again,
would it be hard for you to get a hold of them, or is that something that's common where you live?
well, I know from in South Australia, they just grow everywhere. But it would be something I could easily get. But again, like it's not. I'm just more interested in hearing about it more than anything at the moment, and I'm very conscious of like 7 weeks off of alcohol, and I've
Well,
got
I mean,
another however many years to go, like of my
I,
life not to
I,
drink.
I
So,
would think, like, did you plan on doing like a big dose of it, or just like kind of micro dosing and trying
oh
to just like
man, a thousand
get?
percent microdosing. Like I won't. Like I'm not interested to. I don't want Satan knocking on my door, man.
No,
You
I'm
know what
just,
I mean?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's one of those things. Like, I've never messed with it, but like the people I've known who have fucked with it, it's like it can get pretty gnarly if you like really eat a bunch of them, and so
yeah.
if you're not like
Got
kind
to be
of like,
careful.
yeah, I mean, if you're not in the state of mind to be able to like tolerate that, it's like maybe just microdose a little bit and
Oh
see
yeah,
what you
yeah.
think, because like you know, if you're using, anything, on external to you, I mean, it all depends on your faith. It depends on where your head's at, really. And it's like if you're trying to use something to heal, that's just part of nature and natural. The biggest thing is like the mental narratives you have about it. It's like
Oh
if
yeah.
you're judging it, if you're like putting it on a pedestal, or if you're turning it into like a thing, that's all mental narratives and stuff that you're giving to something that ultimately might just be pointing you back to within. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, if you're getting nudged in that direction, I would ultimately just like go within yourself, because you already know like the correct thing. And so it's like, and if that correct thing is like, maybe explore this to heal or whatever, that's one thing. But if it's like, oh, I'm like substituting one thing for another,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like that, then it's like only you
That's
know that, so
that's a different story. Yeah, and that's why one of the things I haven't brought up here, actually, something I really want to ask you about, is like the whole time I've been watching this, it's been almost interesting me watching other people enjoy working out more about themselves, because that stuff that gets me going, man. Like it's hearing you like with all of your wins and your journey and all that stuff, and there are other people out there. Because I mean, let's face it, man. I've said this so many times. Like, and again, this is probably like probably some psychological trait. I've said this to my dad. Like, please don't think I'm an egotistical bastard, but most people out there are just so stupid, and it's not stupid from knowledge. It's just like like what are these people doing putting masks on? What are these two people doing, having these
just
shots in their arms? Like, it's just like,
repeating
you're
things
stupid. Like, whatever the other word is, it's just like brainwashed. Like, but anyway, like, enjoy it.
under a spell. But I gotta get ready to bounce here though. But like, yeah, it definitely seems like it's parroting mixed with like just a group think, wanting to just be on a team, you
Yeah.
know. even if that team is not making sense anymore, and it
Yeah.
almost makes, and then it's almost like so obvious that it's like that it makes you double down even more, because now it's like, I'm already in too deep,
Yeah.
so maybe there's some of that.
What I was gonna say though, like, is uh yeah, yes, I'm really interested in watching these people do these things with mushrooms, whatever else. But like, I think like meditation and all that sort of stuff and finding the present moment, that's what I want to do instead. Um because like I think you can get just as much out of it doing it that way as well. And what I was going to quickly ask before you bounce is these like these float tanks and stuff, have you ever done one of those?
No, but I'm getting ready to do. Um, it's something where you put your feet in this water and they like, I don't know if they turn on like electromagnet or something, but then like it's supposed to be like a detox. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah. I'm gonna do it. I've done a float tank before twice, and I'm gonna do another one soon. It was years ago, but I had an experience where like it was like everything was black, and then inside of my head, like it was like it was coming in. Everything was closing in, not in a bad claustrophobic way. And then it was just like boom, and like there was just, I think I've told you this before. There was
Yeah,
like
you told me about that.
thousands of green stars went in, like this. I just like, it was like I had had this huge experience. So I'm going to do that again. And the one last thing that I wrote down to tell you about, I've sent you in the email, which I haven't sent you the link for, is there's this thing about the journey of Moses out of Egypt, and they're trying to prove like that it happened and all these different things. So I'll send you the link for that, because that's, there's like history there in tablets and stuff showing it, and like the science. I mean, you don't need to have proof, right? But it's just an interesting story about that. So I'll shoot you that as well.
Yeah, I
Um,
seen something that was really interesting with something like that, where they actually had like the rock that was split or something like that that had water
yeah,
coming out
that's
of it or
probably
something.
the one then. Yeah. It's old. It's like,
Yeah, it's really
yeah,
old.
yeah. Have you seen that? That's good.
Yeah, it's like really interesting.
Yeah. So I saw that and sort of, yeah, I was like, oh, I have to send you that. But anyway, man, it was great chatting to you again. I feel 1,000 times better than I did before the call. So really
Yeah,
appreciate that, man.
hopefully everybody that listens in is like feels elevated on. I feel elevated too, and so
That's good.
like hopefully that goes on to the people that are listening to, and uh, out like a friggin' like a tree branch or something.
Thousand
you know.
percent. Like I said, yeah. If you can upload it, man, go for it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna hit
I
stop
got
in
the
a minute.
other one. I got the other one uploaded, and I'm actually on Rumble now, as
Ah,
well.
excellent.
Because if you ever fuck with Rumble, like you can automatically import your YouTube channel onto Rumble without
Okay.
having to re-upload all your videos and shit.
Yeah,
It just
I'm gonna.
does it like automatically.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say goodbye. Just hang on to the line though before you go. Just one quick thing. Um, yeah. So I'll say goodbye now, man. Thank you so much. I'll hang up, but yeah, definitely upload it, and I'll be with you in a second.
All right, take care.